We're talking college sports in the Deep South where college football is king, and on the plains of Auburn, the battle cry is War Eagle. Once again, it's K-Stu to go for Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. We're talking about college football like it is nobody's business. Go ahead and like this video, comment, and let's go ahead and get the comment section active. The Fearless and True Gang, definitely get it active. I want you all to get real fired up today because we're talking about Auburn football like it is nobody's business. The Auburn Tigers, just a few months away from the Advocare Classic, as we talked about before. You have two Power 5 teams, Oregon representing the Pac-12 conference with aspirations to represent the Pac-12 in the Pac-12 championship game for the first time since 2014. And with the return of Justin Herbert and Troy Dye and C.J. Verdell, Oregon has aspirations maybe to do a little bit more, but they have a pit stop in Arlington, Texas against the Auburn Tigers, who come into this season ranked number in the 20-ish range, depending on what poll you're looking at. We're doing our series on impact players for the Auburn Tigers, and we just recently talked about Cam Martin and Malik Miller as we come into this 2019 season. Again, I want to give a shout out to my Fearless and True Gang, some of the SEC conference fans who have stopped by Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. Definitely appreciate their participation as well. Some of the Georgia fans, a couple of Alabama fans here and there. Clemson fans as well. And of course, with the series that we've had going with the Auburn and Oregon previews, definitely really appreciate the Oregon fans' participation during this offseason. Because I know a lot of you guys who are adamant college football fans are doing a lot of binge watching on YouTube. You're watching full seasons of your favorite teams because you just can't get enough of college football. War Eagle. We're going to be talking about one of the fastest human beings in the world. We're talking about Anthony Schwartz, who is a track star for Auburn. Out of Pembroke Pines, Florida, went to American Heritage High School. Like I said before, this guy is lightning fast. Once he catches the football, he makes defenders absolutely nervous, and he creates a lot of mismatches. Came to Auburn as a 4-star athlete, .9334 rating. That means this guy is actually pretty good. When he catches the football, like I said before, he makes people very uncomfortable. As a matter of fact, Auburn has utilized him as well on jet sweep situations, which proved to be very successful. Once he hits the corner, he is very hard to stop because he is so fast. You look at the separation that he gets between himself and the defenders. It's absolutely phenomenal. Some of his biggest games last year that I remember the most was a 76-yard reception in the Tennessee game, which led me to wonder why he stopped touching the football. He had the hottest hand in that game, broke away against Tennessee, and it looked like Auburn was going to go ahead and run away with that football game. But some miscues there led Auburn to their worst SEC loss in a long time, and arguably the worst loss of the 2018 season. We plan on Anthony Schwartz to continue to make a huge impact, even though he was basically an early replacement for Will Hastings and Eli Stove. Most of you guys know Eli Stove and Will Hastings as kind of sort of game-breaking players because of their speed. Eli Stove is Mr. Jet Sweep because when he touches the football, it is dangerous for the defending team. Also, Will Hastings was known to create a lot of separation on the deep ball, something that Auburn was missing in 2018, had to rely solely on Darius Slayton, who missed a couple, was overthrown a few times. But nonetheless, Darius Slayton was the main deep target. And see, with Auburn's offense, you just have to have a little bit more diversity in the receiving core. And that's something that I believe coming into the 2019 season, Auburn will have. We'll have the utilization of Sal Cannella, who I think is actually a pretty good receiver / tight end type. Also, you have Seth Williams, who I think is going to have a breakout season as well. He's one of our impact players that we're going to talk about as well. And then you have Eli Stove and Will Hastings coming back. And also Auburn was able to capitalize on some junior college transfer action during the off season. So, we look at this. I think, Anthony Schwartz, the sky's the limit for this guy. He is absolutely a speedster. He can catch the football very well. The only issue that I saw with Anthony Schwartz, he did fumble the ball a couple of times. And if y'all know Gus Malzahn, he's very big on ball protection. Okay, as a matter of fact, because of ball protection, he was actually able to capitalize on a touchdown in the Ole Miss game where Boobie Whitlow made yet another great run only to fumble the football on the 1 yard line. Ironically, against another Mississippi team, Boobie Whitlow did that same thing against Mississippi State, which changed the total trajectory of that Auburn-Mississippi State football game, in which Auburn eventually lost 23-9. I feel an unnecessary loss for the Auburn Tigers. War Eagle. One thing that Anthony Schwartz is going to provide is for Bo Nix, or assuming Joey Gatewood is probably going to be the starter, gives him another target. Gives him another target in the run-pass option, because Anthony Schwartz ran the jet sweep very, very, extremely well. He hits that corner very, very fast. And once he gets out in the open field, he is absolutely dangerous. So what do we think, Anthony Schwartz is going to do? He's going to follow suit. I think he's going to get a little bit more action this year. If you look at Anthony Schwartz stats from last year, just doesn't justify his skill set and what he could have brought to the table for the Auburn Tigers. It was really baffling, the fact that neither he nor Sean Shivers touched the ball more than they did. As a matter of fact, Anthony Schwartz was pretty respectable running the football. 27 attempts for 211 yards, 7.8 yards per carry, 5 touchdowns. Receiving. See, this is where I think Anthony Schwartz could be a dark horse as far as a receiver for the Auburn Tigers, because he had 22 receptions for 357 yards. The longest coming against Tennessee, the 76-yarder, averaged 16 yards every time he touched the football. That's very respectable for a receiver, especially in the SEC, and especially for a team like Auburn that predicates itself on running the football first. I'm telling you guys, Anthony Schwartz could be a huge difference maker, especially going into the Advocare Classic, to where Oregon is going to have a good defense. I think Oregon is going to be very physical. Oregon is going to be one of the better teams that Auburn plays this season. But when you look at all of the different options that Auburn will have at its disposal, Anthony Schwartz is a guy that you definitely have to account for. Lightning fast, can catch the football, deadly on the jet sweep, deadly in the intermediate passing game, especially. Now, this is where Anthony Schwartz will be particularly dangerous. Once the run-pass option starts to create some imbalance on the defensive side of the ball for the opposing defense against Auburn, that's where things could get real, real ugly. In addition to still having access to Eli Stove and Will Hastings. Having Eli Stove, Anthony Schwartz, and Will Hastings on the field at the same time, and Sean Shivers, who is another one of the fastest players in the SEC, could get potentially dangerous for opposing defenses. And I'm pretty sure once the season gets going and they start to see video footage of these guys in action, will create some anxiety for defensive coordinators nationwide. Once again, it's K-Stu to go for Vernon Speak Sports. We're talking Auburn football like nobody's business, and Anthony Schwartz fast as lightning. He did miss spring practice because of his track obligations for the Auburn Tigers. Actually has a gold medal as a runner. Being a runner is absolutely his claim to fame. He is fast as lightning. They call this young man Flash. War Eagle.